What's up, y'all? How's it going? Okay, in this video, I'm going to show everybody here something I like to call the RiverCenter Series. Now, what the RiverCenter Series is, it's actually a poetry competition slash concert that was done like a couple Fridays ago that I really enjoyed, and I thought that I would share it with all of you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this.
I pledge my troth to Lady Jane. Going up to the Lady Jane.
sorry. It was Rob's. It was all Rob's fault, guys. All right. Start the talk.
Fear consumes me, it paralyzes my mind and body. I wake up, and it is there. I go to sleep, and it is there. Why am I afraid? There seems to be no rational justification for it. And my soul yearns from freedom from this beast. A beast keeping me hyper-alert from potential threats, real or perceived. It demands perfectionism, or else I won't be loved. It leads to self-condemnation and self-loathing that's simply exhausting. Why am I afraid? I am loved. I know this intellectually. My family, friends, and pets care, but my heart continuously tries to wall off this love. I've been severely burned, and I know better to be completely vulnerable. Fear lurks around and within at all times. Why am I afraid? I have reason to be afraid. My senses are heightened. I remember each traumatic moment. The yelling, the screaming, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the alcoholic stupors, the beatings, the mornings after, the eventual suicide. Oh, why can't I forget? Stop beating her, she's my mom. You love her, or do you? You're my dad, but you're filled with rage. The sight of you makes me shudder within. You say you love me, but I don't believe it. Why am I afraid? I have reason to be afraid. The world is cruel, this is what I've learned. There are pockets of love, but I shove them away with ease. Love is an illusion in my mind. Fear is my familiar companion. I want to be free. Love, please set me free. I'm tired of being afraid. Love, please set me free.
About 50 years ago, great adventure, and the great adventure has lived with me these many years. I teach a portion of the crisis intervention program that has to do with post-traumatic stress disorder. And not only do I teach it, but I know it. So I invite you, sail with me. Sail with me in harm's way. I leave my home in the Georgia clay. I've gone to a place that turned hearts to stone. I live with others, but I'm alone. Sail with me to a foreign shore. I leave a life I'll see no more. I've been to a place that produced despair. I've lived with others, but I don't care. Sail with me, you who dare. I'll leave behind those who care. I've been to a place that caused great grief. I talked with others, but I had no relief. Sail with me. My challenge to you. I leave behind what I knew. I've gone to a place where good men die. I live with them, but I don't cry. Sail with me through my private sea. I live with something called PTSD. I stand vigil in a foreign land. I live with others who do not understand.
This piece is called Schizophrenia. I've written a lot of poetry, but I never really wanted to touch this subject because my mom, she has schizophrenia. And it was very a very touchy subject for me because I had to experience that since I was 7. But I finally did write this poem. Life, it truly is hard, especially when hard times catch you off guard. 7, that's the age when this all happened. This disease that seemed to be taking over my life with ease. It took me from smiles and celebrations to trials and tribulations. The pain runs deep, deeper than the roots of trees and way deeper than the red of the blood that flows within me. Imagine this. She says she sees me laying in the street, half dead but holding on, barely breathing. She says it's my face and the body of a dog, which is obviously wrong, but she doesn't catch on. She won't catch on. She can't catch on. Because the bizarre imaginations of her psyche are far more unexplainable than anything. Fast forward 8 years, where I'm now sitting on the brink of tears because her death has become the topic around here. She throws it in my face like it's some kind of game, like it's all a race where she'll win some great reward if she wins first place. But she'll never see the pain or distaste because agony is a feeling that is so out of date. I'm so used to the cues of this psychological abuse that I can do nothing but feel pity when she starts to sing these tunes. Thank you.
Number 4.
One more time for the band. This is a true story, actually.
2013. My grandmother's here in the crowd, and actually, she had told me that God picked the same day for Nelson Mandela because God knew he was like one of the only people I respected to take her up to heaven on the crossroads. Anyway, this is a letter to my daughter. Dear Ava, the day I met your mother, I never thought of creating life. And as time passed by, I realized she should be my wife. I was lost, downtrodden, and downright confused, and I spent a lot of time alone listening to the blues. In my mind, I was ill, and your mother became my cure. Our love was always volatile, but at least it was pure. I remember meeting your brother. He was your mom's first king, and his father couldn't do the job, so your mother became my queen. The three of us built a home to escape all the plight, and we kept each other warm throughout the cold, dark nights. Then you made your presence known, and we three were ecstatic, never knowing that your life was to be short and tragic. Many people loved you across many different states, and we loved to feed you through your mother plate after plate. But in one day, all our hopes came crashing down. See, you were too special for Earth, and I know that now. Your mother cried and cried and cried while I tried to be strong, and it became evident we wouldn't be together for long. I even tried to make it up by praying for another kid, but the pain was too deep for our love to live. I'm all alone now because your mother and I split, but I can see your face in the sky when I look up at it. I love you, I miss you, your mother and your brother. My family is gone. I'll always be afraid to start another. Yours forever, Pop. One time. Can I get a black?
Music make you lose control. Music make you lose control.
Anybody want to dance? Come on, girl.
You
for the veil.
Number 5, they gon' feel it with the realest.
I'd like to dedicate this poem to my mother. Who am I? I am often alone, do my own thing. I don't know what you are thinking, so don't assume that I do. I don't understand your motives or motivations. It is difficult for me to control my emotions, so if I cry or have a joyous outburst, it was necessary at that time. I repeat my words over and over like a tape recorder. There's no give and take in conversation when I talk about something I like. I don't speak slang, only the King's English. I am the king of sarcasm. I mastered that. I mastered that. Do not take my facial expressions, movements, or gestures as clues to what I'm saying. My tone of voice may fail to reflect how I feel. Now this is what I need from everybody in here right now. I need consistency and daily routine. I need love and understanding. I need people to stand up for me. What am I? I am altered. Hear me speak. Thank you.
Number 6.
A little bit, but let me go a little further. I stumbled across NAMI because I got tired of looking for answers. And NAMI has been a wondrous resource for those answers. And so the best thing that I could do to pay that back to them was to take it to the next level and do what they did for me, train others to go on out to the front, to train so that the more we get trained, the more we can get the word out. I often have people in my classes ask me, well, how can you relate to how they feel when oftentimes they themselves don't know how to feel? Good question. This is what I came up with. What brain disorders really do. What used to be a wonderful person is now an empty shell. If only we knew what this person endures is that of pure hell. The fact that this wasn't asked for, nor is it deserved, a little kindness and affection is often not present, nor is it served. All that they ask is to fit into our world, but yet all that they receive is abandonment. It is absurd. We laugh, poke fun, joke, and call them names. Meanwhile, inside, their anger and hurt turn to flames. We distance ourselves from them for fear of what they may do, without realizing at all that they do have feelings too. They did not ask for 1 minute that which they possess, nor do they like people knowing, so sometimes truth they do not confess. They live their lives in shame, guilt, and tons of pain. All that they wish for is for the ones that chastise to refrain. They too are God's children, often misunderstood. All that they desire is a life of that which is good. Imagine, if you will, a life of hopelessness each day. Instead of constant ridicule, may I suggest that you pray. Pray that someday these poor souls will have but just a break. Take just a moment, for a moment is all that it would take. Promise to do this daily, as this is how often that they hurt. To fathom what their lives are like, one must think of a day, their worst. Constant forgetting, voices inside their minds never receiving a moment's rest, and often they are left behind. They have nothing contagious, nor this disease will it spread. It's not something that you contract, but hereditary instead. They're not crazy, dumb, or stupid, as is often implied. For you see, a part of them is missing, as if it had mortally died. Take the time to get to know them, and just may you shall see. All that they ask for is to fit into our society, to feel as if they belong and have a sense of worth. But yet instead we put them down. They feel as low as the dirt. What we fail to realize they often never show. They keep it bottled up inside till someday it contains, and no more, then it blows. This is when we see them and often think that they're insane. This is where we often give them those titles, ridicule them, and name. Deep inside their pain is a person dying to escape. Often we steal their security from them. Esteem we rape. Imagine, if you would, what their journeys often entail. Seldom do they get the proper treatment. Their new recovery center is the jail. We as a world have wronged them and have yet to seek a cure. It took many lost years while they were forced to endure. A horrid life that you nor I could handle, they can hardly cope. Many times they try to medicate, oftentimes it may be dope. Turn our backs, laugh in their face, shun them all away, in hopes that they would cease to exist. That's what we have often prayed. The shame should not lie on their shoulders, but rather on ours it should lay. All their life isn't wonderful and is often filled with dismay. Confusion, fear, resentment, anger, frustration, just to name a few. What it feels like to live like them if we only knew. No cure in sight, no hope for tomorrow, no dreams to fulfill. The treatment that they often receive is in the form of a pill. 1, 2, sometimes many more. How much more of this hell must they live to endure? Imagine, if you will, the worst day of your life. Multiply that many times, and in one day you have experienced their strife. What is it like to be? That I do not know. A little compassion, empathy, love, these things we all show. But through our ignorance, a path to destruction down the trail we lead. All the while their hearts are broken, deep inside it bleeds. They call out on deaf ears, hoping for help to come. We'd rather tell them that they're useless, stupid, or dumb. These words to us mean nothing, or these words to us nothing they mean, but to them the intent is serene. Who are we to point our fingers? Who are we to judge? Instead, when they need encouragement, gently should we nudge. Not be demanding, not forceful, nor should we lead the way. Oftentimes it is needed to heal, often more than just one day. So do the world a favor. Education shall you seek. Then, maybe then, you would discover, then you may be that which is meek. Facts that which are lacking are easily obtained. Seek to find the answers, knowledge from someone who is trained. You then too shall see what I see, a person beneath the mess. Because with knowledge often comes power. This knowledge you will obsess. desire to learn more about their problems, desire their souls to caress. A person with feelings they are, no more than you or me. The only thing unequal is that their brains work a little differently. Thank you.
Here, wow, Jonathan, wow.
Thank you.
Can we please give him another round of applause? As well as everyone else who has presented tonight so far. That was just like you were inside my brain.
That's what the intent was.
Seriously, thank you. This was written by my brother Mitch Allen, who runs a newspaper in Northeast Ohio. He is an avid poet, and he writes for his own local newspaper. So I have grown up with his poetry, and I really thought it would do me an honor to be able to present one of his pieces to you tonight. Before I do, I just want to make a plug for a movie that is out at the Ritz 13 called Frankie and Alice. It stars Halle Berry as a woman with dissociative identity disorder, DID. And if you're not doing anything this weekend, head over to the Ritz 13 and give it a listen. Give it a watch, because Halle has also done a video on the NAMI national website about the movie and how she's really stepping forward to speak out for mental illness. And that's what we need. We need more celebrities like Catherine Zeta-Jones, etc., to come forward. And this is just where we are tonight. It's just a drop in the bucket of where we could be. So just keep that in mind. One more thing. Our school system is beginning to understand the need for vocalizing mental illness. We will be presenting an interim voice presentation for the first time to all of the guidance counselors in the district on May the 30th. And we're going to begin reaching out that way. We have a wonderful director of guidance services who has a background in mental health, and she is embracing NAMI wholeheartedly. We will begin 2 signature programs that are being launched. They've already been launched nationally, but they're going to be launched in Georgia beginning this fall. The first one is called Ending the Silence, and it will be targeted at high school students. It will be presented through science and psychology classes. And then the other one is called Parents and Teachers as Allies, and we will be bringing that to teachers and parents through staff development and professional learning courses. So we're excited about this new adventure in education. This piece is entitled Among the Alfalfa. I would like to dedicate it to my whole family. We lived with a bipolar mother who was never diagnosed. And I was diagnosed in 1998, and I understood the hell that she went through every day that I didn't understand. My oldest brother died in 2010, suffered from severe depression and epilepsy. My father tried to bear it all, and my brother who wrote this piece suffers with bouts of depression as well. I dedicate this also to anyone who suffers from a mental illness, particularly bipolar, which I live with daily. And I'm proud to be a voice for NAMI because NAMI has done so much for me. Michigan dairy farmers mow their alfalfa in spring, just before the moist green hay unfurls its purple blossoms, painting the land with wide brushstrokes of lavender and amethyst. This perfect timing, any old farmer will tell you, creates a nutritious feed for cows, trapping carbohydrates in the hay stalks, instead of wasting them on flowers. Spring is also the time when does give birth in the cover of the alfalfa, where day-old fawns are instructed by God to lie still in the face of danger. The roar of the approaching combine's diesel engine, the fawns will not move. The steely whirling of the freshly sharpened blades, growing closer and closer, louder and louder. The fawns will not move. Nervous mothers pacing the edges of the fields, praying, please, child, do not move. If a blade strikes just right, the fawn will die instantly. If not, it twitches for a few moments until it bleeds out, and the desperate does gather round, nuzzling the tiny white speckled corpse until their black noses are caked red with blood. Yet none of them questions the wisdom of God. Sometimes I am one of those fawns, curled and trembling on the sofa, unable to move, waiting for the worst to happen. Other times, I am the unfeeling blades of the combine, hacking my way through a world with such focus, such singular purpose, that I leave death and destruction behind, until the circling buzzards alert an old coyote who arrives to clean up my mess. But what I never feel is normal. Unlike the farmer bouncing in his tractor seat in an old straw hat, listening on his iPhone to Jimmy Buffett or Rush Limbaugh, who simply cuts hay for cows and looks forward to lunch. On my way to group this morning, I saw him out in his field. I rolled down my window and waved, and he waved back politely. But I know what he was thinking. There goes that crazy girl. I want to tell him that I'm not crazy. It's just that I'm too awake. Sometimes I can see what others cannot. Like how right now, the thumping of my car tires is no doubt an old discarded nail driven into the rubber tread, about to leave me stranded on this crooked country road with no one to help me but a grim reaper in a straw hat. Or how the thumping is more likely a group of migrating frogs making their way across the highway to Zimmerman's Pond, and I have already squashed a dozen of them. Then I realize what the farmer asleep on his tractor has known all along. There is nothing wrong. There are only bumps in the road.
Number 8.
I'd like to dedicate this this poem to the late Michael Jackson, who died so young. And ever since I was a little kid, as he got older, I tried to understand what he was all about, what message he was trying to send to the world. And he inspired me to write this poem. It's called Man in the Mirror. Are you ready? All right. Poetic Acknowledgements, Part 7, Man in the Mirror. December 9th, 2013. The world can be a scary place, as some might say, but the world has never been completely good anyway. I want man to take a look in the mirror and ask himself, can I really change? I know that words can hurt, but goodness is where I would like to aim. Hatefulness is not really something that fits me. I want to paint a more better image, to put love into play the way it should be. I want every meantime experience to be something of the essence, because focusing on the bad just does not make too much sense. I want to participate in healing the world, not destroying it. My love and your personality is definitely a nice fit. I am looking at that man in the mirror, and my heart is good enough to carry the positive towards Father. In times of struggle, I want to remain strong. Pressure and depression are my worst enemies, and which I hope do not last too long. When I hear about all this violence and corruption that is happening in the world and problems in my life, I want to ask myself, and God, is it really worth focusing on, or should I just focus on my life, knowing that I can possibly do what is really right? I want to be a better man for myself and for other people, and just have God talk to me and remind me that as human beings, we are all equal. Hate is never an option, and I never plan to make it into one. As human beings, with God's help, our love for each other can be bright as the morning sun. I want the bad to be something of the past. Take every bad thing we as people experience and throw it away, because love in the world is something that I would like to see last. Like MJ said, who am I to be pretending that they're not alone? I'm a believer in God and faith, wanting the world to go strong. There will always be a world where people are hurting and feeling rejected. Love is a strong essence that God instilled in us, where our lives can be supported and protected. I am 39 years old, and I have seen a lot happen, and my true mission is to understand and act on the love that is so grabbing. If you want to make it a better world, listen to God's voice and do not take a bad curve. Look at yourself in the mirror with a warm heart for yourself and for others, and also tell yourself to love your sisters and your brothers. Trouble don't last always, and good thoughts and action can just about produce better lives and better days. You are never alone under God's watch, so never feel sharp-pointed needle. As I said before, the world can be a scary place, but it is up to us to look in that mirror knowing that you, with God's help and protection, can move us on a steady pace. A person who has an abundance of true love and understanding always wins a rough battle or hard competition. Move forward and make a change, for your mind can definitely make up a new position. Love is a precious gift, forever and a day. I am asking all men to take a look in the mirror, make a positive change for yourself and for others, and let it stay that way. Peace.
Music make you lose control. Music make you lose control.
For those of you that are consumers and come to NAMI Connection support groups on a regular basis, Lee is an amazing facilitator. She's done a lot for me on days when I didn't feel much like being there. And I just want to dedicate this to Lee and to all of those who know her and love her dearly. This is called Teeny Star. Funny. I know they say I'm crazy, and true that may be. But I couldn't leave you there, so small and cold, and oh so helplessly. So I cupped you in my hands and warmed you with my flesh, and snugly positioned you between my two breasts. I can feel your every movement, hear every tiny little cry, and feel every little breath. I promise I'll try to save you, little darling, from an otherwise certain death. I tried so very, very hard to have you believe me, but your little lungs filled with fluid. You could hardly breathe, you see. So I repeatedly slung your body down towards the floor. My attempts to revive you, your body did ignore. So I called my angels of mercy one more time, once again. Even though it was their day off, they said yes, bring her right in. And so together in my pickup truck, we sped for the second time in as many days to our beloved vets. Once upon our journey, I felt uneasiness. I pulled over, lifted your body, and saw your lifelessness. Attempts to bring you back were all made in vain, and at that very moment, I suddenly knew your name. And right before me, as plain as you can see, I saw a vision so clearly of my precious daughter's 2 feet. When I first saw those tattoos, I thought she was just being mean. All I said was, "Tell me, dear, what does it mean?" It's written in a language I can't possibly even read. She explained that it was there purposefully for her to see each day, to remind her that life is beautiful no matter what troubles come her way. And I now finally realize so clear, how did my daughter get so smart, so clever, and so dear? Again, I looked into your tiny little face, and the thoughts through my head did wildly race. I couldn't stop the thoughts crisscrossing through my mind of my own mortality. Is your death my fault? Am I to blame? Have I acted irresponsibly? I thought of all those times I tried to take my life. It hadn't worked, you see, because the decision was not mine. How thoughtless, depressed, and hopeless I've acted so selfishly. How I've hurt my friends too, my loved ones, and especially my family. It does not lie within our hands to choose to be born, nor shall it lie within our hands to choose when we're done. I stare at your little lifeless body, as small as it can be, and say, "Teeny Star, I'll let your little light shine through me." My thoughts were interrupted by a blaring horn. I put the truck in drive and slowly moved on. At home, the somber faces did await, watching so intently with silence and sullen curiosity. I shrouded your little body in silk, so fine and carefully. I took you to the back and put you in your final resting place. I paused to think and began to contemplate. I know I will look to the heavens, and a flickering light I will see, and I know it will be you, Teeny Star, winking right back at me. I looked back towards the house with a shameful tinge of spite. Why did he get so much nourishment? What gave him the right? As sleepless days and nights go by, I tend to your brother. But thoughts of you won't leave my head, my mind they smother. I tend to him in my zombiness. I can't think, I can't sleep, and when I do, I get no rest. As I nurse the baby boy, I gaze upon his face and wonder what will become his fate. All I know for sure and for right now is he's supposed to be here in this world, in this place. He too has a purpose, perhaps to put a smile upon my ailing grandson's little face. Now I know we are all here and all things happen for a reason. And we may go about our daily tasks, not thinking and not believing. Now with my heavy, weary head, I finally do believe. Okay, I got your message, Teeny Star. I'm reading loud and clear. I too am supposed to be in this world, this place, right now and right here. Now it's time for me to care for this little one. His life still hangs upon a string. Leave me be, Teeny Star. I don't intend to be mean, and so I do say with respect, out loud and very purposely, Teeny Star, It is time for you to leave. You have accomplished your purpose. Ah, yes, you have indeed. I hope I made a difference in your tiny lifetime. God only knows what a difference you made in mine. Yes, life is beautiful. Yes, it is indeed. Goodbye, little one. I love you. Travel well. God bless. And Godspeed.
Number 10.
Am I man enough for you? Do I meet your qualifications of what a real man looks like? I've been told that men are strong, resilient, and able to conquer all through obstacles seen and unseen. I've been told that real men don't struggle with mental illness. But is this a fact, or is it a lie? And doesn't this statement by default imply that women are more susceptible to mental illness? How sexist is that? I am a man, and I want to live up to the ideal of manhood I've been taught, vigor and toughness at all times, but my weakness leaves me exposed. Stigma leaves me feeling ashamed. I struggle with depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, and yet I hear that mental illness is not acceptable. Only weaklings struggle with this. I've been told it's only a weak person's excuse for bad behavior. Do I need to hand over my man card? I try and hide my struggles from everyone. I smile when I want to cry. I laugh when I want to hide. But you can't see any of this because I wear a polished mask. Stigma leaves me feeling ashamed. I've lost jobs, filed for bankruptcy, had to file for disability, but you won't know this because stigma leaves me feeling ashamed. Am I man enough for you? Do my tears embarrass you? Does my lethargic mood make you feel uncomfortable? But this is me, all of me. Mental illness doesn't define me, and yet it does because stigma leaves me feeling ashamed. But I'm tired of the stigma. I will speak out as long as I have breath in my lungs. Once again, I ask you, am I man enough for you? I can't answer that question, but I am a man, and this is me. And I do struggle with mental illness, and I thrive one day at a time. I speak out to break this stigma that I despise so much. Thank you.
Can't see any of you out here. 4 years ago, I entered a Buddhist monastery because I was desperate. I suffered a very, very traumatic divorce and separation from my children as a result of that. I looked around for the hardest, most embracing thing I could find. I was too old for the military, so I found a Buddhist monastery. I woke up at 3:50 every morning, meditated for 2 hours, then did a full day's work, meditated for 2 more hours, and went to bed at 10 o'clock, 6 days a week, 365 days a year. In addition to that, I attended retreats that lasted for 10 days at a time, where I would meditate for 10 hours at a time. Out of that experience, the diagnosis of borderline personality disorder has almost completely disappeared from my experience of life. The poem I'll share with you in a moment will give you some insight to what it feels like to be borderline. But it will also give you an idea of what it is like to use mindfulness of the present moment to escape from that. It's true, I do offer mindfulness meditation classes here in Columbus, but I know where I am. I'm in the South. So it is not a Buddhist offering. It is mindfulness-based stress reduction. You can take meditation and apply it in any platform. Christians meditate, Buddhists Children meditate. My mother at 83 meditates. Now, they don't call it that. They call it simply peace. If you see a child sitting in a car, staring out the window, just gazing, that's meditation. I hope in my offering to dispel the myths around what meditation is and what meditation isn't. And I hope that on some Thursday evening at 6:30 or Saturday at 2:30, you'll stop by my studio and have a seat on the cushion. But for now, I'd like to share with you my poem entitled Borderline. Swirling and turning and pacing, embracing, for that surge of emotion that tugs and pulls at the fabric of my mind, fraying the edges until my toes are curled up on the far side of panic. Swirling and turning and pacing and bracing for that surge that will send me down a long, dark tunnel of pain and grief and tears and heartache. Worry, doubt, and fear now dominate the conversation. The original issue has been multiplied, amplified, and intensified. I am now a storm of emotion that will use anything as a catalyst. Anything to continue the subtle dance of avoiding the real issue. Fear and sadness now create the weather pattern, running from one groundless thought to another, until I can't remember the point. Maybe that is the point. To avoid seeing what my mind thought I couldn't handle in the first place. My mind, in its own clever way, decides to give me something that I can handle. Raw emotion. And it shields me from what it thinks that will break the bank. The truth. The truth is, I've been hurt, abandoned, and left to figure it out all on my own. But I'm in good company. We've all got to figure this out on our own. No one else can climb inside my head and do the work for me. So, in a small act of loving kindness, I turn to my mind and I gently say, thank you, but I've got this one. And I pick myself up off the floor and I wipe away my tears. And I decide to go outside and look at the flowers in the present moment. Thank you.
As a few of you know, friends and family, I have a son that suffers from severe mental illness. Came out of the blue, and after 7 stays at the Bradley Center, a great volunteer that works there on the child and adolescent unit told me, you need to check out NAMI. They can provide you with support, because the doctors and the counselors weren't exactly answering questions when asked, for whatever reason. So I went to my first NAMI group, and it was laughter yoga. And it's the most hilarious thing you've ever seen in your life. But for like the first time in 6 months, I was laughing. So I went back again, and I really found that the support group there was a wonderful outlet of me being able to communicate without having to worry about what friends and family were thinking when I was talking to them. Because I noticed they started to cringe, they didn't want to hear it, they pulled back. So, 13 stays later, I have written this poem to kind of give you an idea of how I see my son living his life. And just want to say thank you to my husband for helping me with him. And also thank you to Frank for mentioning to me that he's going to help me get him out of the house once we finish with this project. So, it's the loneliest person of all. I know you don't believe it, but I've been fighting this for a while. I've learned how to hide it, but if you could see in my soul, you'd see the anger and hurt of each grueling mile. The little boy with no voice, yes, that's my child. What did I do to him, you wonder? I wonder that all the time. Mucked up hair, tattered clothes, and his unusual stride. Yet as I walk with him, I am so proud. But don't be mistaken, the pride I feel doesn't hide the judgment in your eyes. He had friends at one time, a very popular child. Such a smart child, his mind like a dictionary. I never thought my brilliant son would have such a heavy load to carry. Knives and pills and demons and such, the number of hours I haven't slept, can't you see it's all too much? Why should it hurt me that you are afraid? I'm afraid all the time. Thank you.
Number 13.
This one under my heart. It's called, it's the Etta James poem. Y'all ready? Ready. Here we go. The wind is a torrent of darkness among gusty trees. The moon is a ghostly Gileon tossed up in cloudy seas. The road is a ribbon of moonlight traveling above the purple orb. To see a world through a grain of sand and a heaven and a wildflower, hold infinity at the palm of your hand. For in eternity and an hour, the dead against the dead, upon the darkening plain and on solid ground, the silent slain. Who has seen the wind? Neither I nor you, but when the leaves seem trembling, the wind is passing through. Who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. When the trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by. For in the midst of the night, when our stars no longer shine bright, and the corners that they comfort, their purpose not somewhat trite. If I had found you outside the gates, would you answer in simple phrases? Would you make all your promises truths? For these are the questions that my mind raises. In the eye of your storm, is there any thought of what's to come? Or have the curiosities been appeased? For this was all that this was to become. And the affirmation that summarizes our most positive ancestral gifts begins with the words I am, to acknowledge our inner spirit. And because we're no longer stuck in the past, we're fully here right now, in the present, we say here. Then we include the essential, loving myself, and we end it with, at last. We all rise up our affirmations by saying these words, I am here, loving myself, at last. Etta James.